Let's kick off by doing a new document. File new. Choose your working area. Mine is 960 by 560 web, and it just fits so good. Now, it might sound strange or seem strange to talk about painting in a vector program. And I agree on the sound of it, it's weird because we're talking about vector shapes, not paintbrushes. But Adobe Illustrator does have a paintbrush. And visibly, it functions very similar to the paintbrush you'd find in a program like Adobe Photoshop. But the difference is, instead of putting paint on a canvas, you're actually creating a path that looks like a paintbrush stroke. So here it is right there. If I come over here and begin painting, all you gotta do is click and drag. Now look at the shape, watch it change when I let go of my mouse. See how it smoothed it out some? Let's talk about options here. You might not know this, but quite a few of the tools over here, if you double click on them, open up options. In this case, the paintbrush tool has options. The first one is fidelity. That tells the computer, that tells Illustrator, how far you're going to move before it creates another anchor point. Right now it's at 4 pixels. You can increase that number. That will have a tendency to make the shape look a little bit smoother. But the actual option for smoothness is right here. If you can't really work well, as a matter of fact, if you're using a mouse, you might want to increase that. If you're using a drawing tablet, you might not need to. You have fill new brush strokes. Now notice this one was just a stroke. There's nothing in here as a fill. If you turn that on, it would fill that area in. Do you want to keep it selected? Now I like that one. When I get done painting, the last one I painted is actually still selected. And do you want to allow the editing of a selected path? And I usually leave that one on too. This is how close in terms of pixels you can get to the path before it assumes you want to edit the path. So I'm going to click OK. We come back over here again, you'll notice when I paint, it leaves the path selected. Now, if you see the X, you're drawing another shape, or actually another brush stroke, and you can keep that up all day long. If I come to a shape that's selected and get within that 12 pixel limit, you will notice I have the ability to re-edit. Let's do this. Let's get rid of everything on the screen, start again. Okay, so I've got my first path. I can make another one over here. I see the X. But if I get there and it goes away, I can continue drawing on that path. But this is kind of interesting. If I get right about here, watch what happens if I continue the drawing from this point. It will assume I don't want the other stuff, and it will actually create a new path based on wherever I click. What if you want to close the shape off? Now that's really hard to do because this is freehand. So let me get out of here. And what we're doing is we're creating, I don't know, something like a circle. Again, this is where a drawing tablet can really help you. Now I'm getting close. I want to close the shape off. Reach over and hold down the Alt key. See that little circle come up? Just let go of your mouse. And it will close the shape off for you. Now it is, if we select it, changeable. We can, for example, come over here and change the weight. Of course, we can change the color, but it is defined as a stroke, not a fill. And we can keep this up all day long. We also have over here a pencil tool. Now it's similar to the brush, except it creates pencil as opposed to brush strokes. And we can come over here and draw ourselves a couple of pencils. Notice how rough they look. If we double click on the pencil tool, we can change things to number one, like fidelity. That's how far it's got to move before it creates another anchor point. You notice it's tighter. It's at 2.5, not 4. Let's move this up. As a matter of fact, let's take it all the way to 100%. See what happens. Notice how it makes the path smoother. You might want precise definitions on your paths. If you don't, you just crank up that smoothness. Let's go ahead and go back in here, and let's take that back down to something a little bit more manageable, about 50% or so. Now we have the fill selected, edit, all the same things down here. Let's click OK. I'm going to do Control A and a delete. Now if I come over here again and begin drawing, you do have a couple of options here under the tool, or actually new tools, and that's Smooth and Path Eraser. If I select Smooth, I can come over here and just kind of draw on that spot, and notice how it smooths it out for me. Doing this actually reduces the complexity of the object and can slowly, subtly smooth it. So if we come back over here and, I don't know, pick up the pencil tool, and we're kind of trying to make a circle, and I held the Alt key down to close it off. Then we come back over here again to the Smooth tool. Suppose we can come over here and maybe rub over it a little bit as it begins to slowly smooth it out. Now, if you're trying to make a circle, in my opinion, your option is not to use this. It's to use the tool up here that actually draws those things. This is nothing but a freehand tool. Now, you have one more, and it's Path Eraser. If you select that one, you can actually come over to a shape and erase it. Now, notice it's going from the bottom, not the top, because it's an eraser. You'll notice if I come over here and begin erasing that it doesn't work. Now, the reason for that is the object has to be selected. So if I hold down the temporary selection tool key, which is the Control key, and select this path, then if I come over and begin my eraser, I can begin, well, erasing it. Well, there you go. Two more tools, the paintbrush and the pencil tool, that can be used to create your very own customized shapes. Let me recommend something to you here. When you start working with things like pencils and brushes, drawing tablets are an amazing thing to have. I have no problem recommending something to you that I absolutely love. Wacom tablets, in my opinion, are some of the best in the industry. Check them out. They can help you when you're doing a lot of freeform work. On to the next.